Have you ever heard a story so wild, so unbelievable, that you just brushed it off as a myth? Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because today we're diving into incredible myths and legends that, against all odds, turned out to be completely true. Let's start with a classic, the lost city of Troy. For centuries, most people believed Homer's epic tale of the Trojan War was just a great story, a piece of fiction. The idea of a massive wooden horse, a 10-year siege, and a city lost to time seemed like pure fantasy. Scholars and historians dismissed it, placing it firmly in the realm of mythology. But one man, a wealthy German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann, was obsessed. He believed Troy was real, and in the 1870s, he set out to prove it. Guided by the geographical clues in Homer's Iliad, he began excavating a hill in modern-day Turkey. And what did he find? The ruins of a city. Not just one city, but multiple layers of cities built on top of each other. And one of those layers perfectly matched the description of Troy from the Homeric age, complete with evidence of a violent destruction. Schliemann's discovery rocked the academic world and proved that sometimes, the greatest stories have a foundation in reality. Next up, let's talk about something a little more monstrous. For hundreds of years, sailors told terrifying tales of a sea monster so huge it could pull entire ships down to the watery depths. They called it the Kraken. It was described as a creature with massive tentacles, capable of creating deadly whirlpools. These accounts were largely dismissed as drunken sailors' yarns or simple misidentifications of whales. It seemed too fantastical to be real. But then, in the 19th century, something incredible happened. Carcasses of enormous squids started washing ashore. These weren't just large squids, they were colossal. Scientists began to study these specimens, and the reality of the giant squid, or Architeuthis ducks, was confirmed. These deep-sea giants can grow up to 43 feet long, easily matching the legendary descriptions of the Kraken. And while we haven't seen one pull down a ship, seeing a creature of that size emerge from the deep would certainly be enough to inspire a legend. In 2004, Japanese researchers finally captured the first-ever images of a live giant squid in its natural habitat, solidifying the Kraken's place in the book of real-life monsters. From the deep sea, let's head into the dense jungle. Have you heard of the lost city of the monkey god? It sounds like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie. For centuries, legends in Honduras spoke of a white city, or Ciudad Blanca, a fabulous metropolis of immense wealth that vanished somewhere in the remote Mesquite rainforest. Generations of explorers searched for it, with many meeting tragic ends in the unforgiving jungle, which only added to the myth. It was considered a wild goose chase. That is, until the 21st century. Using advanced laser mapping technology called LiDAR, a team of researchers flew over the jungle in 2012. This technology could see through the dense canopy to map the ground below. The results were stunning. They revealed the unmistakable outlines of man-made structures, plazas, earthworks, pyramids, and even a complex irrigation system, all hidden for centuries. A ground expedition confirmed the findings, unearthing incredible artifacts, including a stunning effigy of a war-jaguar. They had found a lost civilization, proving the legend of the White City was no legend at all. Now for a story that combines history, treasure, and a bit of swashbuckling: pirates. We all know they were real, but what about their buried treasure? The classic image of a pirate burying a chest of gold on a deserted island, marked with an X on a map, has long been considered a fictional trope, popularized by books like Treasure Island. Most historians agree that pirates rarely buried their loot. It was more practical to spend it quickly. But there's at least one spectacular exception: the treasure of Captain William Kidd. Captain Kidd was a notorious privateer turned pirate in the late 17th century. When he was finally captured, he tried to bargain for his life by claiming he had hidden a vast treasure. He was hanged anyway, and his treasure became the stuff of legend. For over 200 years, treasure hunters scoured the globe looking for it. It seemed like a ghost story. Then, in 1910, a man named Edward Rowe Snow, a historian and author, claimed to have found part of Kidd's treasure on an island off the coast of Long Island, New York, using an old map. While many were skeptical, the story gained more credibility in 2015 when divers off the coast of Madagascar discovered a 121-pound silver ingot. The ingot was brought to the president of Madagascar and was believed to be from the wreck of Captain Kidd's ship, the Adventure Galley. It turns out, at least one pirate really did bury his treasure. Let's travel to another corner of the globe for our next myth-turned-fact. In ancient Greek and Roman texts, there are accounts of a river of fire, a strange phenomenon where a river would mysteriously burst into flames. The historian Pliny the Elder wrote about it, describing it as one of nature's wonders. For centuries, this was thought to be a poetic exaggeration or a misunderstanding. A river made of water can't just catch on fire. Well, it can, if what's burning isn't the water itself. For years, people in western New York passed down stories about a small waterfall with a strange, flickering flame burning behind it. It became a local legend, a curious oddity. They called it Eternal Flame Falls. Scientists eventually investigated and discovered the truth. Natural gas seeps through cracks in the rock behind the waterfall. This gas, once ignited, can sustain a flame, creating the magical illusion of water on fire. There are several such eternal flames around the world, proving that the ancient accounts weren't fantasy, but rather accurate descriptions of a rare and beautiful natural gas seep. Now, how about a group of warriors so fierce they were considered mythological? I'm talking about the Amazons, the legendary tribe of warrior women from Greek mythology. They were said to be incredible fighters who lived in an all-female society, only interacting with men to reproduce. Heracles fought them, Achilles fought them. But were they real? For a long time, the answer from historians was a firm no. They were seen as a symbolic invention of the male-dominated Greek society, representing the other or chaos. But archaeology tells a different story. In the 1990s, archaeologists began excavating ancient burial mounds, called kurgans, in the steppes of southern Russia. They expected to find the graves of male Scythian warriors. Instead, they found something astonishing. About one-third of the Scythian warrior graves they uncovered contained female skeletons. And these weren't just any women. They were buried with weapons, bows, arrows, swords, and daggers. Their bones showed signs of a life of combat, with battle-related injuries. These real-life warrior women lived in the exact region the Greeks described as the home of the Amazons. While they didn't live in an all-female society, they were indeed fierce female fighters who rode horses and fought alongside their men, providing the historical basis for the Amazonian myth. Our final story takes us to the chilly waters of the North Atlantic. The legend of Vinland. For centuries, Icelandic sagas told of Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer who, around the year 1000, sailed west from Greenland and discovered a new land. A land filled with grapes and vines, which he named Vinland. For a long time, these stories were considered folklore, epic tales of Viking heroism with little basis in fact. The idea that Vikings reached North America almost 500 years before Columbus was, for many, unthinkable. Then, in the 1960s, a husband and wife team of Norwegian explorers and archaeologists, Helge and Steiningstad, made a world-changing discovery. Guided by the sagas, they searched the coastline of Newfoundland, Canada. At a place called Landsaux Meadows, they found it. The remains of a Norse settlement. They unearthed the foundations of sod-walled buildings, identical to those in Greenland and Iceland from the same period. They found iron nails, a smithy for working iron, and a spindle whorl, which indicated women were present. It was definitive proof. The Vikings had indeed made it to North America. The legendary Vinland was real, and the history books had to be rewritten. From lost cities and sea monsters to warrior women and forgotten explorers, these stories show us that the line between myth and reality is often blurrier than we think. They remind us to stay curious, to question what we think we know, and to remember that sometimes the most incredible tales are the ones that are actually true. What other myths do you think might be real? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of real-life myths, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.